First video I make, and I already know people are just going to hate it. Hello everyone, and welcome to my first video ever since I restarted my YouTube channel. And I'm going to be talking about something that I don't have a lot of memorabilia about today, but I do talk about. I'm going to be talking about it a little bit. And that's me, basketball. Now, as you can see from the jerseys and all the stuff around me, I am a Chicago sports fan, mostly. But when it comes to basketball, I can't exactly say the same. Yes, I do like the Bulls because I'm from Chicago, but it's not that simple. I'm not like a diehard Bulls fan like I am for the other Chicago sports that are in this town. But I do like the Bulls, but I have three other teams which I kind of all simultaneously root for as like I basically have four secondary teams without having a true favorite team. And those other teams are built around some of my favorite players. I love the Thunder because I've always been a big Russell Westbrook fan. I've really liked the career path of Giannis, so I've been a big fan of the Bucks for the last couple of years. And the other one is the Mavericks, and that's almost exclusively because I was always on the Luka Doncic hype train. There were so many people who didn't believe in him. There were some people who thought that there were other people who should have been over him. And I just looked at him and I'm like, okay, so the majority of people his age do not do what he is doing at the levels he's doing it at. The majority of top 5 prospects we see from Europe are like potential guys like Frank Ntilikina or Denny Avdia and all these guys who don't have who haven't actually played. They don't play very often in their European leagues. They just have lots of potential. Luka Doncic was the only guy who was not only playing consistently at that level, he was destroying the league. He was best player. He won MVP in the EuroLeague and then declared for the draft. Nobody else has done that. Nobody else in the history of the EuroLeague has won the EuroLeague MVP and then entered the draft, because they were the age eligible of the draft. Nobody else his age has won a EuroLeague title. So I never understood why there were people who didn't believe in Luka Doncic. Nobody else his age has won a EuroLeague MVP. I don't think any of them won a EuroLeague Final Four MVP either. He won everything. At his age, he was the best player on his team at the age of 19. It was ridiculous. And I didn't get why there were people out there who didn't think that he was going to be great. But that's not the part of this video that I want to talk about. The part of this video I want to talk about is the Mavericks just hired Jason Kidd, and the entire NBA Twitter seems to be going on fire because nobody seems to understand what this is about. Nobody seems to get it. Nobody seems to really understand it. I'm not going to get into the whole Jason Kidd's personal life thing. That's not the point of this video. The point of this video is Jason Kidd and my weird theory about why I think the Mavericks hired him. And it's built around the idea that I'm not sold on the idea that Kristaps Porzingis is nothing more than a bad contract. I don't get it. I don't agree with it. I thought I got it. I was watching everyone clown on Kristaps, and I was like, oh my God, this guy's so bad. And then I took just one look at his basketball reference page, and I was like, okay, what's going on here? What are we doing? What are we doing? We're talking about this guy being the worst contract in basketball. What are we doing? We are all overreacting to 7 playoff games. That is what we are doing. Let's talk about the legitimate criticisms of Kristaps Porzingis before we go on. Yes, Kristaps Porzingis had a terrible playoffs this year. Yes, he is big and he doesn't play like he's big. Yes, he is injury prone. And yes, he is on a massive contract that is going to limit flexibility for the Dallas Mavericks. Those things are all true. But here's what I think. I went through and I looked at his statistical profile from the season where he made the All-Star game, which was the best season of Kristaps' career, a season that was so good that it made the worst move in Knicks history being to trade him for cap space. Remember when that was a thing? Remember when the worst move in Knicks history was trading Kristaps for cap space? Yeah, this is Kristaps' season that year, okay? In that season, because I'm reading off my notes, I'm going to be doing that a lot during these videos, but in that season, he averaged 23 points, 6.6 rebounds, 1.2 assists on 49% effective field goal percentage. He averaged 79% from the line on 6 attempts, 39% from deep on 5 attempts, and 45% on his 2-pointers at 14 attempts. Okay. He averaged 18.5 field goals at 49% effective field goal percentage. That was his best season. I'm going to compare that to what he did this year as the second best player. Not the best player, but now the second best player on the Dallas Mavericks. In his best year, according to everyone, because that was his all-star year, which made the Knicks trading him for cap space the worst move of all time, he averaged 23 points. This year he averaged 20. He averaged 6.6 rebounds that year. This year he averaged 9. He averaged 1.2 assists that year. This year he was at 1.6. He averaged a 55% effective field goal percentage this year on 16 attempts. Last time it was 49% at 18.5 field goal attempts. He also was a 79% free throw shooter on 6 attempts. This year he was 85 on 3 attempts. He was a 37% on 6 attempts this year. Last time he was 39 on 5 attempts. And this year he averaged 54% on 10 2-pointers as opposed to 45% on 14 2-pointers. That right there is not a bad player. That's not a bad player. You can say anything like, oh, we regressed defensively. Oh, he sucked in the playoffs. Oh, this, oh, that. There is no chance in hell where a player putting up 20 points a game on 55% effective field goal is a bad player. It's not a bad player. He's averaging 20 and 9 on 55% effective field goal, and he's shooting 85 from the line. If that's a bad player, you're lying. You're lying if you think that's a bad player. He picks up a lot of rebounds, he scores a lot of points, and he's efficient. He's efficient from the line, he's efficient from 2, and he's efficient from 3. Now, why is it that everyone seems to think that a guy who's doing those kind of things is a bad contract? And the reason is because he sucked in the playoffs this year. And it's simple. He really, really, really sucked in the playoffs this year. But it's not like we can look at him and call him a career playoff choker. This is his second playoff series. And in the previous one, he was elite for the 3 games he played until he was hurt. In that series... No, not that series, not the one last year. In the series this year, he averaged only 30% on his 3-pointers, where he averaged 4 attempts a game. He averaged 57% on his 2-pointers, and he only averaged 6.5 attempts a game. And he was 84% from the line, only 3 attempts a game. He averaged 13 points and 5 rebounds. I think there's a problem there. I think there's a problem there, and I don't think it's the player. I don't think it's the contract. I don't think it's the strip club or anything like that. I think that's confidence. That's confidence, and that's a improper style of play. One of the biggest issues with Jason Kidd when he was with the Milwaukee Bucks was that his style of play was too traditional, and it didn't take advantage of analytical stuff. There weren't enough 3-pointers in the offense. There wasn't enough spacing. One of the biggest issues with Kristaps under Rick Carlisle has been that he plays too much like, essentially, they've turned him into a glorified Ersan Ilyasova. And that's the way I see it. I see Kristaps as they're trying to turn him into a guy who plays like Ilyasova. They're trying to turn him into a big man who spots up from 3 and can't do almost anything else. And that's not Kristaps. I think his issue is confidence. And I think that can be seen in his attempt location of where those are. He averaged 10 attempts from 2 this year, which was 4 down from his best season, despite the fact that he was so much more efficient than he had ever been from 2. I don't have that on the paper, but I'm going to look at my computer here and see this. Kristaps Porzingis. Last year, averaged 54% on his 2-pointers. It was the only time in his career he cracked 50% on his 2-pointers. Last season, Kristaps Porzingis was the most efficient player he had ever been in his career inside the arc on two-pointers, averaging 10 attempts a game, which was similar to his first 2 years in New York and his first year in Dallas. The only year that was different was his final year in New York before he tore his ACL, where he was averaging 14 attempts a game. And again, that season, he only averaged 45% on his two-pointers. And he was an all-star. This year, he's averaging 54% in his two-pointers, and apparently he's the worst contract in basketball. And in terms of his three-pointers, he averaged 37 to 38% on his three-pointers this year. The only thing you could say is maybe he took more. I think the issue is not Kristaps. It's not his contract. It's not even like how he fits next to Luka or the fact that Luka's the only only player on the team who does playmaking. You can solve the playmaking problem elsewhere. I think that the issue is simply Kristaps Porzingis has been trying to play like the player that he shouldn't be playing. Maybe you can say he can be an effective player while being just a rich man's Ersan Ilyasova. That's not his game. Kristaps Porzingis should be attacking the rim at almost all times. He should be attacking the rim because that's what he's best at. He should be attacking the rim in the pick and roll. He should be taking a ton of attempts from two at the basket because that's what he's good at. I'm going to do this just to make sure because I didn't look at this beforehand, but I want to look at this to see his adjusted shooting stuff. His shooting distance stuff, okay? Field goal attempts by distance. Okay. Now this year was his highest percentage from shooting at the basket, which explains why it was his highest attempts shooting at the basket, which of course explains why he was hella efficient this year. In fact, he was the most efficient he had ever been from 0 to 3 feet. And yet, he didn't take as many two-pointers as he usually does. He should have been attacking the basket more. And if we look at the playoffs, he didn't take attempts from 0 to 3 feet very often. In the regular season this year, he took 22% of his attempts from 0 to 3. I still think that's not enough. I don't think that's enough. He's taking 37% of his attempts from 3, and he's taking only 22% from 2. That's a mindset problem. That is not a Kristaps problem. That is a mindset problem. It was marginally more than what he had done in the past, but it wasn't good enough. Okay? In the playoffs this year, he only took 18% of his attempts from 0 to 3 feet. 37% from behind the arc. 21% were from 3 to 10. And 15 were from 10 to 16 feet. What is he doing? What is this? What is this? Kristaps Porzingis should be running to the rim all the time, pick and roll, anything that you need to do. He should be attacking the basket at all times because that's what he's best at because he's 7'3". And I think that's what Jason Kidd can change. I think that as long as the Mavericks keep Kristaps Porzingis, which I think is not a bad decision. I think it's something they should absolutely consider. As long as they keep Kristaps Porzingis, they can have a legitimate co-star next year as long as they have him playing like a big man. You cannot have Kristaps Porzingis pretending he's Ersan Ilyasova. Kristaps Porzingis needs to be the big man KP down low who's attacking the basket at all times. Whether it's rim running, whether it's dunking, whatever it is, he's got to be attacking the basket, and he has to be shooting the majority of his attempts from the basket, and he should not be shooting damn deep twos, 10 to 16 feet mid-ranges. That's not his game. He's not a mid-range shooter, even though that wasn't even something that wasn't something that Carlisle wanted him to do, and yet it was something that was even prevalent in his game, though, for some reason. But no, he should be attacking the basket because again, I've said it multiple times. Kristaps Porzingis should not be playing the game as if he's Ersan Ilyasova. He should be playing the game like he is big man, all-star caliber Kristaps Porzingis. And that, I think, is the most important thing in this entire scenario. Kristaps has to play like he's big, and I think Jason Kidd, the guy who people say is too traditional of a coach for today, might be the guy who changes Carlisle's mindset that has been implanted in Porzingis to let him go down low, maybe post up more often, attack the basket more often, because that's where he's most efficient. That was where he was most efficient this year, and I think we could see Kristaps taking more attempts. Maybe Luka will be able to have more plays run to have him attack. And for the love of God, stop shooting so many threes. It should be something you do sometimes, but for the love of God, you got to attack the basket more, man. You can't be shooting all those threes. So that's what I think Jason Kidd is going to be there to do. I think he is there to fix Kristaps' mindset, because I think it's a mindset that needs fixing. Because when Kristaps Porzingis is attacking the basket, he is his best, and he's an all-star. And Luka Doncic is really, 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 really good. He needs an all-star next to him if he wants to contend for championships. And if it really is true that Luka's not happy with the direction of the Mavericks right now, he's going to need another all-star if they want to keep him around. Because if he isn't starting, if he doesn't have a playoff series victory in the next couple years, he might just be gone. But that's the whole point of this video. I just wanted to get that out there. Again, this could easily blow up. I'm not entirely sure if this is going to work, but I think that that's the main reason why they hired Jason Kidd. Yes, he has some history that's not good, and he also has some history with specifically the Mavericks that on the court has been very good. He's a champion with them. But I think that the real point of this is just they need to get Kristaps playing like he's actually 7'3" again. And I think Jason Kidd, with his mindset as a coach, can do that. But that's the whole point of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I know a lot of you are going to disagree about it, but again, he's not as bad as you think he is. He's fine. You're not going to trade him when his trade value is at his lowest. You shouldn't trade him when his trade value is at his lowest. That would be a massive mistake. People just see basketball so much from a 2K lens, where it's like, you can't fix a bad contract. We've just saw it happen with Chris Paul in Oklahoma City. You can fix bad contracts if they're in a different situation, or maybe even if you change a mindset. So I think that's the whole point. I think they can fix Kristaps Porzingis. But that's going to be everything for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe down below for more content where I talk about a bunch of different stuff involving sports. I'm going to get a couple more videos out today. Maybe one more. I think I have to talk about the whole Blackhawks situation and what the heck is going on. Because Jesus Christ, it's getting out of hand. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.